morning. Welcome to my video. I do this for fun.
I got into acrobatics kind of by accident. I always wanted to be a ninja or an anime character. I did martial arts when I was a little kid, and at the dojo that I was training at, some of the instructors could do certain tricking kicks and backflips and stuff like that. The problem was, this was tricking, and this was right around the year 2000, 2001. When the level was really, really low, I didn't really have a natural aptitude for any of this. I started to plateau really quickly, and the rest of the world seemed to just continue excelling and pushing the levels of tricking, while I stayed pretty much the same. In order to continue feeling this sense of progress, I started trying to do everything else that I possibly could, constantly try things I had never done before, and constantly get this feeling of fulfillment and progress. I started trying Trampwall, Chinese pole, sear wheel, dabbled in some aerial stuff, did a lot of poi, nunchucks, sword, handstands, you name it. I probably tried it. I might not have stuck with it, but kind of by proxy of doing all these different things, I got sort of an understanding of what I was decent at and what I enjoyed, acrobatically speaking, and what I should avoid like the plague and pretend never existed. I actually still never really had any intention of doing anything acrobatic for work. I was really afraid that it would take something that I was very passionate about and make it feel like a chore. I was actually intending to go into the music industry. I was attempting to open a recording studio, and it failed colossally, and I figured, okay, well, what do I have to lose by trying out and auditioning for shows? So Cirque de la Mer from SeaWorld was my first ever audition, and at the end of it, they had a one-on-one interview where they asked me, what makes you want to come perform for Cirque de la Mer? I bluntly and very honestly said, up until this point in my life, I've been paying to go to gyms, do flips. I've been paying for lessons to try and get better. But in this case, you would be paying me to do flips. So that seems like a lifestyle upgrade. Yeah, needless to say, did not get the job because I didn't drink the Kool-Aid. But after the Cirque de la Mer incredibly tactful interview incident, I went on to successfully audition for other shows, started gigging a lot, expanded my network. This whole word of mouth thing generated a bunch of potential gigs for me. I was actually intending to go into the stunt world full time. It was something I kind of dipped my toes into but hadn't really committed to, because I auditioned for Cirque du Soleil. It was either 3 or 4 years and got cut in the first round of every audition I attended, usually before I really got a chance to do something I felt was any good. One day, I'd basically just decided, okay, I'm going to do one more audition for Cirque. Whenever that happens to be, they will probably inevitably tell me, sorry, you're garbage, go home. And then after that, I will go into the stunt world.
Yellow tracksuit.
Completely out of the blue, I got an email the very next day from Cirque Casting saying there was an opportunity that they wanted me to come audition for, doing tricking, parkour, and sear wheel at Chris Angel Mind Freak Live. This was hilarious because up until this point, I had pretty much only been auditioned as a trampolinist or a Trampwall specialist. My tricking was pretty garbage at the time. My parkour didn't exist. I had touched a sear wheel maybe 3 times in my life prior to this, and the audition was within a week or two, so I was just panic-stricken and trying to figure out how one does this. Apparently, I faked it well enough to get the job. From there, I went on to Beatles Love, but I returned to Chris Angel when his show left Cirque du Soleil, just because the working conditions, volume, and actual content of those shows was so much easier than it was at Cirque. It was a good time. And then I went over to Run, successfully got the job, but then broke my ankle before anything really happened. So I'll never know what that show was like to perform in. And now I am yet again back with Chris over at Planet Hollywood, and my life is a lot of fun.
It's terrifying every time. Every single time.
As for performing is not my passion. I enjoy it, it's fun to do, but it's not something that I am in love with. I never approached any acrobatic discipline I do, not a single one of them, ever thinking about performing it. It was always just pursuit of specific skills, combos, and motions. I don't have any acts on any apparatuses, I just do skills. And that's why I think of myself as an athlete and not as a performer. I would love to come up with weird tricks, weird apparatuses, starting right this second. If I never step foot on a stage ever again in a performance setting, I would be perfectly okay with it. Unfortunately, most of the things that I do acrobatically are fairly high impact, so I am trying to slowly phase my way out of performing and focus instead on both my coaching but also on research. Coaching is incredibly gratifying. It's interesting because it reinforces the way that I coach myself. I find it very fulfilling to watch people figure things out or have me help them figure them out, grow, not just as athletes and acrobats, but also as human beings, develop more self-esteem, more self-confidence, more belief that they can achieve the things that they can achieve. It's awesome. It's fascinating how many things from how many different disparate disciplines can actually be correlated in with circus. There's a lot to be said for the proprioception that you develop from all these different things, the reaction speed you develop. I've been watching a Netflix documentary show recently called Drive to Survive. Drive to Survive is about F1, and I was so interested to see that some of the drivers are juggling before they go out and they do their race. One of them in particular, Daniel Ricciardo, he's doing a lot of hip stretches, probably doing yoga or something on the side, but to see Formula One drivers juggling, that kind of tells you there is something to this. I am very fascinated in studying concussions. Some of the disciplines that we do, I think we can actually quite tangibly prove are bad for your brain. People are still doing 10 shows a week. They're still doing their rehearsals. There is no cutoff limit amount, and I would like to kind of subtly change that and hopefully leave the world a slightly better place than I entered it.
Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you saw some stuff that you're not used to seeing, and maybe it inspired you to try some weird stuff of your own. Yeah.